Hi, and welcome to King 5 Plus. I'm Jessica Janner Castro. This is The Week, a look at what made headlines in our region, along with your weekend forecast. Severe weather battered western Washington for days with heavy rain, gusty winds, and a rare blizzard warning for the mountain passes. The storms dealt a major blow to traveling along US 2. Governor Bob Ferguson said the highway will be closed for months between Leavenworth and Skykomish, a 49-mile stretch due to extensive damage. King 5's Bridget Chavez got an exclusive look at the damage that shut down the highway.
We're here on Highway 2 near Leavenworth, and this right here is what crews are dealing with. The road here just completely gave way underneath it, so this is why this area is closed off.
The destruction is impossible to miss.
You kind of don't really believe it until you see it.
This section of Highway 2 washed out and collapsed, now sitting in the Wenatchee River.
This is not AI, this is real.
This failure is part of a 49-mile closure between Skykomish and Leavenworth, cutting off one of Washington's most important mountain routes. And it's not a short closure. Governor Bob Ferguson says repairs could take months.
This is a pain.
We were only able to get this close with an escort from the Chelan County Sheriff's Office.
We have a lot of work ahead of us here in Chelan County.
Officials say the ground here is still shifting and are warning people not to go around the barriers.
No, you don't need to come down US 2. You're not going to make it through US 2.
What looks stable can give way without warning.
What we're seeing is this is unique to Chelan County. You're looking at historical floods, and it's been one of those years.
And this isn't just a road problem, it's also a business problem.
Well, it's challenging. I mean, there is definitely people that come over Stevens Pass to visit us here at the park and in Leavenworth in general.
For businesses in Leavenworth, Highway 2 is one of two ways to get here from the west side.
They still have Blewett Pass they can get over, and most people do. So I'm hoping that they'll do that.
Over the years, there have been weather-related closures, but usually a few hours or days. This is different. State officials say parts of the road need to be rebuilt, not just reopened.
I think that's going to be a challenge. I don't think in my history here I've never had this happen before.
Again, just to reiterate, we were escorted out here by the Sheriff's Office. Officials say do not go around these barriers because this entire area is unstable. They're worried about even more slides coming as the rain and snow come falling down. Reporting near Leavenworth, Bridget Chavez, King 5 News.
Governor Ferguson said more than 1,200 rescues and evacuations were carried out across more than 10 counties statewide. The ongoing flooding turned deadly when a 33-year-old man drowned after driving into a closed, flooded roadway. King 5 North Bureau Chief Eric Wilkinson reported from the scene as first responders renewed warnings about driving through floodwaters.
Well, this is where the man went into the water, driving around these clearly marked signs saying the road is closed. He made it down this road where the water is maybe 2 or 3 feet deep, but that is plenty deep to lift the SUV that he was in off of its wheels. It floated him off the road and into a ditch where he was found in about 6 feet of water.
Despite the warning signs and caution tape, the driver tried to make it through this. Massive flooding along Marsh Road near the city of Snohomish. It was 1:30 in the morning, pitch black. The driver may have had no idea what awaited him beyond the yellow tape.
I think people are confident that they can get through it, or they think it's a lot more shallow than it is.
Lieutenant Benjamin Bloomquist works with the Snohomish Regional Fire Rescue Water Rescue Team. He was the diver who found the man in his large SUV completely submerged and unresponsive. This picture taken by first responders shows just how deep the water was, the tip of the SUV poking above the water line. The driver had reportedly been on the phone with his wife, who called 911.
People keep making these decisions to try to drive through the waters, and mistakes happen.
You're running late, and your path is blocked by water crossing the road.
National, state, and local authorities launched the Turn Around, Don't Drown public safety campaign more than 20 years ago, hoping to convince people to make smart decisions on flooded roads. But not everyone gets the message.
Going into this storm system, we're thinking that there has been a lot of messaging, a lot of warning, a lot of predictions, and we were hoping that would be enough to keep people out of these waters when they have a choice.
Good. In one day alone last week, Snohomish Regional Fire and Rescue made more than 30 water rescues from both homes and vehicles. More than half of the flooding deaths that happen every year across the country occur in cars or trucks.
None of these vehicles are tall enough to make through these floodwaters, and so it's important to look at those road closure signs and don't go around them because it's serious business.
First responders tell us just a foot of water can lift a small car off of its wheels 2 feet for an SUV, and that's why you are urged to always heed these signs whenever you see them. In Snohomish, Eric Wilkinson, King 5 News.
People began heading back home after officials lifted the flash flood warning and evacuation orders along the Green River. King 5's Madeline Carter reported from near the levee breach in Tukwila that forced residents to evacuate earlier.
The Ray of Hope shelter in Auburn lives up to its name, a place for a hot meal and a warm bed. And this week, it's open to anyone forced out of their homes by historic flooding.
We lost everything we had, which wasn't much anyway, but we don't have anything now.
Jenny and Lee's house in Tukwila was already flooded on Monday when they learned a levee breach and resulting flash flood warning threatened the lives of 46,000 people. For hours, emergency crews surrounded the site of the break on the Green River. They were able to stop the flow of water, allowing the flash flood warning to expire. But the fix is only temporary.
We will come back after this event and do a more thorough long-term fix, and we'll probably be doing work on a number of facilities throughout the system after this event is over, when the water's lower and we can assess what damage has been.
John Taylor with King County's Department of Natural Resources and Parks says a lot of other levees have been damaged during this atmospheric river and will likely need fixing. The county will be monitoring the risk closely as this week's storm moves through the region.
We didn't even know where to go.
But the emotional damage is already done. For people like Jenny and Lee, floodwaters have disrupted a season meant for joy and celebration.
And it's Christmas time, and it's like, I think we'll be okay.
The National Guard was deployed in Pacific, where King County dispatched extra resources to respond to a levee failure along the White River. As King 5's Natalie Swaby reported, the breach forced overnight evacuations.
The view from above reveals the devastation. While many Pacific residents slept, work crews discovered a levee failure along the White River. The alert jolted Larry Lingle awake in the middle of the night.
And I thought we were safe, but we looked out the door and water was coming up, so we left.
As Larry raced out, Alex Dolby rushed in.
It's nerve-wracking. I don't know. I'm really hoping that, that it'll subside a little bit, but this is the worst that we've seen in a long time.
The dump truck driver from Kitsap County volunteered his time to haul critical materials to the breach site.
And I worry for the people that live around here.
The biggest part of the operation at this point, boots on the ground here, was getting those super sacks filled.
Crews are packing 2-ton sandbags at a quick pace. Days of relentless storms have swollen rivers.
In general, water levels are high, and we need to balance all of it region-wide.
Every shovel, every sandbag, every minute counts as crews work to seal the breach. That urgency pulled Alex from his home an hour and a half away. His reason? Community.
Community. The community is the biggest thing. This is what brings us together, this type of stuff. Put everything aside and just help each other out.
It's the extra effort that's needed as the weather keeps testing this community.
But it's Mother Nature, so there's no telling.
When we come back, after nearly 9 months at sea, an emotional homecoming for thousands of Navy families. But first, meteorologist Adam Claybon has a look at the weekend forecast right after this.
Hey there everyone, meteorologist Adam Claybon here with you. Here we go into the weekend and into the start of the winter season. And we have winter weather to come across the Cascades. A few light showers too into the lowlands. We'll talk about that. But first, let's get into where we are expecting to see some of that heavy snow. Winter storm warnings out for the Cascades until 4 p.m. on Saturday. 1 to 2 feet for Stevens Pass and Snoqualmie Pass. 2 to 3 feet possible for areas around Mount Baker and Paradise. Should be a winter wonderland and go a long way in helping to get some of those resorts that are not open yet hopefully open here in the next few days. Temperature's going to stay cooler here, 40s for highs. We're going to see lows in the 30s, and we do have a chance of some rain heading into Christmas Day. Kwanzaa, too, could see a few showers. Here's a look at Snoqualmie Pass. Yeah, definitely a lot more of a wintry scene as opposed to what we saw just a few days ago. Same for Stevens Pass. Of course, we're dealing with our issues there as far as some of the closures, but looking like we're getting a lot of snow there. White Pass, more can be said about that as well as far as what we're expecting there. Hurricane Ridge looking beautiful and very powdery, and then up this way around Paradise where we could see 2 to 3 feet of snow. It's looking like it's already beginning to come on down. Some breaks in the clouds here. We're expecting that as we head on into more the next few days. Temperatures, which are going to be more in the low 40s, are going to be more the norm for us, and we'll keep more of those showers in place as we head on into more the next day or so. Now, here's a look at radar. We have that showing up where we do have some areas of light rain kind of here and there. A lot of it's broken, though, and we do expect that to be more the nature of the showers, more scattered in nature, but then we'll have a bit of an enhancement heading on into late into Saturday and into Saturday night, maybe even into early Saturday, too. I wanted to show you how that comes together. Here we are at Futurecast Friday night showing some of those showers in place, but then we head into more of Saturday morning. This is the first round that's going to come on through, and you can see we're starting to build some of that heavier snow as that really does begin to enhance. That's why you can see a lot more of that blue, not only just deeper blue, but also it is connected. We're not seeing those breaks in between some of the snow showers there. So that's going to be a period where we could see some of the heavier snow. Then again, as we head on into Saturday evening, that's 4 to 5 p.m. there, and continuing on for a lot of Saturday night into early Sunday. The warning, yes, ends at 4, but do expect to see at least a few more snow showers later on into the night on Saturday. And we'll see more rain showers too, which it looks like it'll be more widespread rain heading on into the afternoon and the daytime hours of Sunday, as opposed to what we're going to see on Saturday here in the lowlands. So not quite as wet with that. Here's a look at what we're expecting rainfall-wise, maybe anywhere between about, I would say, a half an inch to an inch, maybe an inch and a half. Some of these numbers could be a little on the high side, but definitely showing you where we do expect to see some good downpours of rain. It's still going to be a wet day for us, too, and stretch over the next 2 to 3 days, but it's with the lower snow levels, which are going to help with really producing a lot more of that snow. We already talked about some of the totals getting up there around 1 to 2 feet, in a lot of spots even higher for Baker and for Paradise. All right, your forecast over the next 7 days will call for things to continue to stay on the active side. Monday and Tuesday, we're still seeing some showers. If you have any plans to try to travel at that point, you'll see a better chance at least of maybe some mountain snow around and some rain. Chances will be lower as we get closer to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, but there are some disagreements in models, so we'll continue to monitor that for you here as we head on through the weekend and into the start of next work week.
Welcome back to The Week. 2 students were taken into custody after police said they brought guns to Evergreen High School in White Center. The incident prompted a 3-hour lockdown, shaking students and parents. King 5's Sharon Yu reports.
Pickup at Evergreen High School was emotional for Fatima Abdi this afternoon.
I was so worried. I had to leave the work. I told my boss, I said, I have to go.
Abdi says a neighbor told her her son's school was on lockdown. Evergreen is part of the Highline School District in White Center and has around 1,100 students.
Later on, he texted me. He said, Mom, one of the boys who got arrested was in my classroom. It was so scary. It was so scary.
Anytime you have some sort of report of weapons in a school, we take that very seriously.
King County Sheriff spokesperson Brandon Hull says a concerned student flagged staff about a weapon.
Obviously, students take it seriously too, right? Yeah. They want to feel safe at school, as they should.
Deputies arrested 3 students at first.
They searched the school. They ultimately recovered 2 weapons, and 3 students were taken into custody. 2 were taken to juvenile facility. 1 was released back to the school. The school went on lockdown about 9 o'clock.
Hull says resources are stretched thin, but police duties continue.
We definitely have crews dealing with the weather, and especially our Marine unit and our air support. They are specifically, helping with weather response. But we also, public safety doesn't take a holiday just because of bad weather. So we certainly have all of our regular police business as usual.
As for Abdi, she was eager to hug her son home without incident.
He was so scared. He said, Mom, I'm so scared. I am so scared.
Again, the sheriff's office says 2 students were taken into custody in connection to this incident. No one was injured. In White Center, Sharon Yu, King 5 News.
A felon with a violent past got 5 years for pipe bombing a couple's car. Federal investigators say hate fueled the attack. King 5's Natalie Swaby has details about the punishment a judge handed down this week.
New Year's Eve 2024, a surveillance camera catches him in action. A man who lights a pipe bomb outside an Everett apartment complex, hurls it at a black couple's car, and bolts as the alarm blares. Seconds later, an explosion. No injuries, but photos reveal the blast damage and the homemade device behind it. Local police work quickly drew federal attention.
We found out that there was a very cruel and vicious voicemail left for the victim that had hateful racist slurs.
Hey, you dumb.
One day after the bombing, the caller mocks the victim's health condition.
Are you still having breathing problems?
Stephen Goldstein, shown here in a decades-old prison photo from a previous conviction, left that voicemail according to federal prosecutors.
How is your car running? Boy, what an explosion that was. Stupid.
Investigators trace this case back to fall 2023. The victim, who suffers from chronic respiratory issues, complained to her landlord that Goldstein and his friends were smoking directly below her apartment unit. Tensions escalated, then came this. The blast happened while Goldstein already faced charges for another incident.
He had driven into a Black Lives Matter and Back the Blue protest in Everett in September of 2020. During that time, he was harassing protesters.
One protester started recording.
Hey, buddy, smile for the camera. Smile for the camera. Oh, hey, he just pulled out a gun. Officer, hey,
He never fired, but investigators kept building their case.
We looked at other history of this defendant's relationships with other people and found more evidence of racism.
Their investigation shows May 2022, Google reports Goldstein to the FBI for racist YouTube comments. A year and a half later, the pipe bombing. Then a search warrant reveals more.
700 rounds of ammunition, which is illegal to possess under federal law for anyone who's a felon.
We were able to find out that this was truly a hate-motivated crime and a racially motivated crime that made a huge difference in the outcome of the case.
The judge sentenced Goldstein to 5 years in federal prison.
Goldstein pleaded guilty to 3 federal felonies. The judge ordered 3 years of supervised release after his prison term. In the newsroom, Natalie Swaby, King 5 News.
As holiday travel picks up, it doesn't take much to throw flight schedules off track. From weather and crew issues to tech problems and safety concerns, the decisions can quickly ripple across the system. King 5's Bridget Chavez gives us an exclusive look inside Alaska Airlines Operations Center, where those calls are made.
This is the Alaska Airlines Network Operations Center. Every screen in here tracks planes, crews, and weather. So when things start to go sideways, this crew makes calls fast to get you where you need to go.
Weather is often the first domino, and here it's watched minute by minute.
He's got the weather overlay over here.
Every shift forces a question. Do you fly or do you change the plan?
We're communicating all day, quite frequently, to every single airport. So this is an important new piece that we have.
Chelsea Janes, the director of bridge operations, shows us those changes start here in a room that runs 24/7, coordinating about 1,600 flights a day as holiday travel ramps up.
For example, we might be delaying the flight, or we might change to a new flight crew.
When the system hits turbulence, this is where the calls get made.
All of those different facets that get a plane out of the gate and into the air for the guests. When that sort of bogs down and they're having to focus extra on every single flight, then that's what really gets challenging.
And when the problem is big, like this summer's 8-hour-long IT outage,
So we had to stop the operation, which is that safety first mindset.
The forced cancellations from the government shutdown.
So that forced us into something we generally don't like to do, which is to target city pairs.
Or the door plug blowout on Alaska Flight 1282.
That took our whole operation down for a series of hours.
The decisions get bigger. Captain Brett Payton says stopping, even when it causes major travel headaches, can prevent a bad situation from getting worse.
The first step of the process is it safe? Is it compliant?
After that, they ask, how do we impact the fewest people?
Let's just say Seattle, Los Angeles. We have more recovery options in that market than we do in, say, Seattle, Omaha.
That's called Guest Protect, cutting where there are more options so fewer passengers get stuck. And these decisions aren't automated.
We don't have the tolerance to let a machine learn.
They're made by real people, many with decades of experience.
There needs to be 2 pilots on the flight deck, and gosh, can you imagine going in a pilotless airplane to LA? I can't. I'm proud of what this airline does. We're small and scrappy, and we're becoming a global airline.
Bridget Chavez, King 5 News.
1 year after a King County Metro bus driver was killed on the job in Seattle, King County Metro and the Transit Union held a memorial bus ride to honor Sean Yim. King 5's Madeline Carter reported on the tribute.
At King County Metro's Central Base,
so he would have signed in now.
A bus driver's presence lingers.
That's his ID 21882. We never want someone to forget Sean.
His light up the room smile.
Did you want a Sean patch?
And sewn on reminders of the beloved Sean Yim.
So we made these for Sean. It's a year anniversary. So as you say, never forget. Fallen on 12/18/2024.
The 59-year-old was stabbed to death on the job after an argument with a bus rider. It's a painful memory that still weighs heavily
you can sew it on there.
On his Transit Union president.
Thanks. He was serving the public in the middle of the night, brutally murdered.
Wednesday night, just hours before the 1-year anniversary of Sean's murder, a bus bearing his name and ID number geared up for a solemn ride through Seattle.
It's a shock when you do a job and you have to worry about going home safe.
Sean's colleagues, closest loved ones, and the first responders who answered the call that night boarded the bus in his honor, pulling out of SoDo to retrace the route Sean used to drive every night. The bus came to a quiet halt in the University District, where they laid a wreath near the spot where Sean's life ended.
It's very important. This is therapeutic for us all. So, why don't we all bow for a moment of silence? Come out. Of course, brother.
But this isn't the final stop. They plan to keep driving Sean's legacy forward.
And we wish today Sean was driving us.
Madeline Carter.
Not us driving on his route to honor him.
King 5 News.
A final homecoming took place for the USS Nimitz. The Navy's oldest aircraft carrier returned to Naval Base Kitsap ahead of its planned decommissioning after 50 years of service. The nearly 9-month deployment ended with emotional reunions for thousands of Navy families. King 5's Madison Wade was there as loved ones reunited.
At the first sight of their loved ones coming home, these Navy families can hardly wait any longer.
My dad's coming here.
4-year-old Oliver hasn't seen his dad in 270 days.
I'm gonna give him a big hug.
When you think about your dad, what do you think about?
About snuggling him.
Thousands of families gathered at Naval Base Kitsap despite the downpour for this monumental day.
This is a very special one for us, very emotional one, so I'm excited.
Kimberly won the long-standing tradition of first kiss with her husband Tyler.
He'll be one of the first to get off the ship, and then he'll come and meet up with me, and then we'll give a little switcheroo.
The deployment was difficult for Kimberly. She navigated loss and grief by herself.
I lost a pet, and I lost a couple family members, and it was a little hard to deal with it by myself.
Which is why today is so important for her. her heart will be whole again.
Today is just overwhelming. I'm so overwhelmed.
And it's happening right before the holidays.
It says my Christmas wish came true. Welcome home, babe. Because, well, I get home for Christmas, so.
As the families wait in the pouring rain, they begin to see their loved ones come off the carrier.
I see him.
The anticipation is almost over.
Do we go now?
Yes, it's time to be back together. They are finally in each other's arms, as other couples weren't expecting a reunion like this.
No? Not at all.
Give Daddy a big hug.
Love stories that weather the storm and distance.
Here's for you.
Always find each other again.
You want me to hold it? It's a really cool experience to be underway on deployment, but this is what I do it for.
In Bremerton, Madison Wade, King 5 News.
Thanks so much for your time. I'm Jessica Janner Castro. We hope you enjoyed a look at the biggest stories of the week.